I think. I'm just gonna check right now to see that we are live. And guys, if you are just jumping in right now, hashtag live. If you're super excited to have a chat with Kathryn today, hanging out with her, let me know. Hashtag live, hashtag Kathryn if you know who she is and you haven't been. A lot of you guys know the ClickFunnels community, so if you know about ClickFunnels, you know how all about the whole funnel building world. Let me know, hashtag funnel, and we'll dive right on into it. Let me click send now. Okay, now I'm ready. So, all of the things.
You're crushing it. It's a lot to get set up on the back end. You're crushing it.
Thanks. So today is, I really want to, I saw you on Funnel Hacking Live 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
It was actually
last year.
It was actually only this year. It's been a long year, but yeah, it was January, February of 2020.
Yeah.
It's been a long year. It's been a long year.
It feels like it's been a long year. And yeah, she's here to grace us with her energy. I saw you interviewed by Doug Botten, and I was like, oh, I need to have you come into my community because number one, you're so cool. You have such a vibrant energy from you. And I forgive me, but I rarely see that. I see mostly males, and so I don't get to see people like you as often, or even interviews. So I'm really excited to have you here today. So guys, if you don't know Kathryn, she is an award-winning funnel builder guru. She spoke at Funnel Hacking Live. She has a #1 best-selling book. She's an author as well. So for those of my audience who don't know who you are, Kathryn, can you give us a little origin story, and then we'll dive right on into.
Of course. Well, first of all, let me just say, so happy to hang out with you as well. And I think that's one of the coolest things I think that's happening in the internet marketing world is I remember when I went to Funnel Hacking Live 2017. I just remember looking like, is there any girl under 30 besides me here? Like, is there any? And I couldn't find one. I literally I'm just looking for anyone. I couldn't find one. And I think that's what's been super cool over the last 2-3 years is there are so many, not only just women, but people from all over the world. And in my courses right now, literally just had a 10-year-old sell a $1,500 funnel. It's all of a sudden people of all ages and gender and all over the world. It's amazing. So, but yes, okay, listen, if you don't know me, that's probably on me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to play hard to get, but I guess it was on me. So, but yeah, literally people know me. How they first started to get to know me was I got really good at designing funnels that converted, that made people a lot of money. And the way I approached it was really different. But how this whole thing got started, I was in school, I was studying film of all things, and I went to LA for a year and a half, and I just became disenchanted with the film world. So I came back, and I actually still had school left to do, and I didn't want to do film, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I was just like I'm the reason why the stereotype for millennials exists, and I would just like to apologize on behalf of my generation because I'm the annoying one that made millennials be annoying. Because I get back, I was on a mission trip in LA. That's what I was doing, and I got back, and I knew I didn't want to do film, but I didn't know what I want to do. And so again, annoyingly, like millennial, I was like, I just want to help people. It's that's what I want. I just want to help people, and it's so annoying, right? It's I don't even know what that means. But the only thing that I did know, I was well, it might be a lot easier to whatever this ambiguous help people thing is, if I actually knew, if I actually had money. Maybe if I had money that could help me. And so I tried to switch my major to business, and my universe was oh, you have way too many credit hours. You just need to get out of here. And again, divine, such a divine blessing, because it forced me to learn on my own. So I started reading personal finance books and investment books, and which led me to self-help, which eventually led me people selling me courses on online business. And all of a sudden I was oh my gosh, this is about 2014. I was you can make money online, for real? You know what I mean? It feels not real until you're I think this thing might be a thing. So yeah. I just become I'm oh my gosh, this thing is cool. And so I think everybody goes through this phase where you're just watching a million webinars, and you're I don't know what I'm doing, but you're I'm trying to do something. I don't know exactly. Yes, but you're oh, this is amazing. and I start to have a marketing agency, and I start to get some footing there. And at that same time, I actually started dating this guy, and I just like fell in love with him so hard, so fast. And we dated for quite a while, and we started to talk about getting married. And let me just tell you, like, Kim, like I could have been more happy. I could not have been more happy to be having these conversations. Like, you know, the emoji with the heart eyes on it? That was me. Yeah. Like, I literally just was in love with this boy. And so we had talked a few times about getting married. And then one night he was like, Kathryn, like, I'd really like to talk to you about getting married again, like for real. Like, what would that look like? And I am thrilled to be having this conversation. Like, I'm like, this is the conversation I want to have. I'm just like so in love with this boy. So I'm like, yeah, of course. And so we start talking, and then he goes, well, Kathryn, he's like, if I'm being honest, he goes, I doubt your ability to mother because of your business aspirations. And I was like, okay, that was my response. I was like, what, right? And at that point, you're like, maybe he's just an idiot. Like, maybe he's just a dumb boy and you said it wrong. You know, like, maybe we're going to give him another shot. So I'm like, I'm sorry, wait, would you say that again? What did you say? And he said the exact same thing. I doubt your ability to mother because of your business aspirations. And in his mind, it was, you either are a parent, you're either a mother, or you have a business. There was no there was no both, right? And we just like fundamentally disagreed on that, right? And that, amongst other things, like we eventually broke up. But that breakup was like devastating for me, like devastating, not only because we lost him, but also like he made me question, was it bad of me to want more, right? And to want to build, was like, what was inside me, was that bad? And I actually so I'm the second oldest of 8 kids. There's 8 kids in my family. God bless my mom, she was pregnant for all of the 90s. But I love my family though. It was so fun, and I always wanted to have a family. And but I also knew that I wanted my life to look a little bit different than my mom's. I wanted to figure out, like, could I be a super present, just dope mom one day and also take over the world? Like, could I do that? And I think that's why I loved internet marketing and online business so much, because I was like, I think if I'm just not an idiot, right? Like, if I'm just not dumb, I could figure out how to do both of the things, right? So when so all of a sudden we break up with the boy, and I'm starting to get some traction with this agency, and one client, we will just like kill it, Kim, where it's like we crushed it, you know? And like, I'm like prideful, but I'm like, I am the internet. Like, we were amazing, right? But then like literally our very next client, we would just bomb it, just like bomb. And I'd be like, I'm quitting. Like, I'm never, like, here's all, like, never talk to me again. Like, I'm leaving forever. And just up and down, up and down. And I'm like, I have got to figure out how to be consistent in this. Like, if I'm going to have impact inside of my home and out simultaneously, like, I can't be up and down. Like, I've got to figure this thing out. And so I think I was probably more obsessed than the normal person, because I was like, just so aggressively going toward this goal of balance, right?
And also the average.
Yes, exactly. And probably a little bit fueled by fury of the boy that broke my heart, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta figure this out. And so I start researching and trying to figure out, why is it that I will crush it one day and then bomb the next? And Kim, this is nuts. Okay, so I start researching. I'm like, what's happening? And I start to come across these studies, one from Google, Stanford, and a bunch of other research places, that state that it only takes somebody 0.05 seconds to determine the credibility of your website. Okay, for context, you can't even like start and stop your phone fast enough, right? 0.05. So I'm like, what? And in that 0.05 seconds, over 90% of what people are judging is your design. So I was like, what? So I was like, oh my gosh, like, you could have the best product in the world. You could have the best copy in the world. Like, you could be the guru of all gurus. But if your site does not look how people are expecting it to look, then you're dead in the water, right? Like, they're not even going to stay on the page long enough to see what you're selling. And when I discovered this, Kim, I was like, it was like 2 emotions went through me. Number one, I was like, yes, like, this is the lever. Like, I figured it out. And then also like, dang it, I don't know anything about design. Like, dang, I like, shoot, right? And so all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, we got to figure out this whole design presentation thing. But everybody kept telling me, go learn how to code. And I was like, I just feel like there should be a better way, right? Or like, go back to school. And I'm like, over my dead body, am I going back to school, right? And or like, go learn Photoshop. And I was just like, I don't want to be a designer. It cracks me up that I'm known as like a design. Like I started a movement called design hacking, right? It cracks me up because I didn't want to be a designer. I just wanted my stuff to work so I could be a mom one day and have a business. That's all I wanted, right? Like I just wanted my stuff. I just wanted it to work. And so I think again, born out of this stubbornness, one day I was like, wait, what if design isn't necessarily an art? Like, what if it's not this nebulous, like you feel it or you don't kind of thing? Like, what if design's actually science? What if there's like a formulaic approach to this where it's just a series of steps to take and a series of decisions to make and a series of tools to use? Like, could that be a thing? And it was almost annoying how fast that hypothesis proved to be true. Where it was like, what have we been doing this whole time? People like, oh my gosh, and started to see so quickly that there truly was a formulaic approach to designing funnels and websites in a way that converted. And since then, honestly, have started to use this framework for it's like, okay, there's a formulaic approach for how to do this with a funnel or a website. Is there a way to present a story that converts on a video and on podcast and on stage and copy and Facebook Live and Instagram Live? And that's what's been so fun about this design hacking movement that I'm known for. And we have this whole huge movement of people is we've figured out and cracked the code on what does it look like across any medium to present stories that convert. And what's most fun when you do that is when you know how to present, when you know how to design hack, when you know how to present stories that convert, then all of a sudden your stories become your customer stories so that your solutions become their solutions. And that's kind of, and that's how we've been able to build this movement and really win the game.
Oh
but
my
yeah,
gosh.
It all started with a boy that broke my heart. Who could have known? Who could have known?
Before we continue, I want to say hi to everyone on the live. Hey Todd, hey Ramsey, hey Glenn, hey Scott, hey Peter, hey Ryan, hey Lisa, hey Shad. Hey, thanks you guys for showing up. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comments. And I'm super excited to be with Kathryn today. So Kathryn, your story is very similar to mine because mine was because of not exactly because of a boy, but he told me about this world that exists about, for me, my own movement is simple software and people having passive income with their own software. They don't have to be Bill Gates. They don't have to be Elon Musk. Like there's a method to it where you don't have to go and code. And when I'm hearing your story, it's like very, very similar to we just did that extra work to figure out that middle part that a lot of people won't even look towards or make that leap.
Yes.
And part of me is asking you, what is it that made you look at that where everyone else, a lot of people are like, oh man, that's tough to crack. Like that's a tough thing to get into. And I would rather not. But for you, you're like, yes, I'm going to get into this and I'm going to create a whole movement from it. And it's not just about what you said was, it's not just about design. It's about the story. It's about figuring out how to tell the story across all these mediums, which from someone on the onset, if they don't know you, it would be like, oh, you know, funnel design, but it's really about everything. It's about that whole thing. And empowering you with all the tools to now with all the mediums you can tackle that. So like what made you, instead of going, oh wow, this is too much, to you know, maybe I can do this, it's something that you can do.
And what a click. What a beautiful question also. Oh gosh, okay, I love this question, and I think it's such an important question to ask because I think sometimes you can look at people that are further ahead of you or even what you hope to be, and you're just like, that might be too hard for me. That's just too much, right? Like that's just too big. And so it's like, well, what is it that eventually makes you go? Like, what is it? And what is the thing that pushes you? And what's really interesting for me is I think it comes down to two things for me. I think it's your why, and then it's just a decision. So if you look back, right, like I think, again, I was more obsessed with this than most people because I was desperate to figure out how I could have a family one day and take over the world. I think if I was just like, I want to make money online, I would have been like, okay, there's an easier way to do it, right? Like there's an easier way. But I think having that really clear why was really important. But another thing too, in terms of a decision, it really came down to me answering the question of who is Kathryn Jones? Who is she, right? And like, what is she about? And once I finally got clear on the fact that I was extraordinary, and I finally decided to believe it in the sense where it's like, I have goodness to give to the world. And I stopped trying to be shy about it, right? And be like, well, like, I know stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I'm Kathryn Jones. I'm brave. I'm always learning. I'm a light to the world. That's who I am, right? And once I finally got clear on that, it simply became a decision where all of a sudden it wasn't this like huge push or like, it was just like, am I going to choose to be who I believe that I am? And what's really interesting about that though, is that it sounds like that answer is almost annoying, right? Because you're like, oh, it should be harder. It's like, just choose, you know? It's like, if somebody would tell me that 3 years ago, I'd be like, you're an idiot. Like, you're bugging me, right? Like, you're actually, that's such a hippie answer, right? Like, choose who you want to be. But I do think that is like so legitimately true, is it truly is a choice. Who are you going to be? I had this moment, so I'm 29 years old. And I had this moment like 5 years ago or so, maybe 6, where all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's like, I don't know, growing up, you're like, yeah, it'd be cool to do this, or it'd be fun to do this. And I see this moment where you're like, if I don't do something about this, it's not going to happen. Like all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, my life is happening like right now. This is crazy. And that just happened. But I do think that there is this, I think the frustrating, beautiful part about diving into the hard, about diving into the building, is that it really, truly is simply that. It's just a choice. Are you going to play the game, or are you not going to play the game? And that doesn't mean it doesn't get scary, and that doesn't mean it's not terrible. And I even think about like 2 years ago when I like to a new degree was like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to make this thing happen. I hired a business coach for $30,000, which is $30,000 that I did not have. And within 24 hours, I was in the hospital with an ulcer because I was so stressed.
Oh my God.
I was like, what did I just do? What did I just do? First of all, I just paid $30,000 I don't have. Like, I literally don't have it. Second of all, I was like, who am I to think that I can do this? 24 hours I'm in the hospital with an ulcer, but I stuck with it. It was like, listen, if the truest version of Kathryn were alive here, not scared version, not shy version, not the version that thinks that everybody's talking about everything she's doing, but the truest version of Kathryn that believes there's something extraordinary inside of her, would she have chosen to move forward with this? And as I'm laying in the hospital bed with an ulcer, right, doped up on morphine, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to cancel. I'm going to stick with her. This is what true Kathryn would do. And I think it's just decision after decision after decision of who's the truest version of Kim, who's the truest version of Kathryn, right? That eventually leads you to make harder and harder decisions.
Yeah, I love your story, because when I talk to entrepreneurs who feel it through and through, like for you, I can absolutely like feel it emanating from you through and through. The answers in their simplicity, saying, you know, who do I get to become on this journey? When it rings so true, like for some people, like trying to find themselves, there can be a waiver in it, but for you, it's like so clear. And to me, even the very simplest like things about people trying to make it online, when they see it as a journey of who do they get to become and stepping into this bigger vision of their own life, that applies to, I feel, not just what I teach, what you teach, but also like what a bunch of gurus have figured out, and to help others along that journey because you so fully live it is such a great thing to me. How like, yes, preach.
Well, it's crazy too. Like if I go back and I look in my Stripe account where like my money comes in, right? Like you can literally see like spikes, and I can tell you at each of those spikes, like it wasn't a tactic necessarily that I applied. It was like, I can tell you what I figured out about myself right there. And I can figure out a truth that I finally decided to start living about Kathryn Jones right there. And it's crazy that like the more that you marry tactics, marketing strategies with mindset and who it is that you actually are. It's the marriage of those that I think really allows people to take off.
Oh man, I love it. And I know we spent the majority of this interview talking about that, but I feel like that's what's really important.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I want to switch us to the topic, which is if I want to get into like what are the things that does make let's say I'm someone that's super new to you and you're like, okay, these are the components, these are the things. How would you teach my audience like how you reach a 7-figure funnel? Like I don't even know unless we go into like a 2-hour deep dive session. Like in my mind, I don't know what that looks like.
I'm gonna give it to you in 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay? It's actually quite simple. Yes. And again, we could talk about it for 7 days, but the answers can be given to you in 3 minutes. Okay. The first thing that you have to realize is that if you want to design something that's 7-figure, it doesn't even matter, whatever your goal is, right? Is you have to design for conversions. You cannot, one of the biggest lies that's happening right now is that people believe, especially business owners, that design is for pretty. Good design does not equal pretty. Good design equals conversions. It equals money, right? Like I just don't believe in the starving artist life. Like who cares if something's pretty if it doesn't make you any money? That's not for me, right? Some people might be like, I'm dying on my artist thing. I'm busy for that, right? Like I got things to do. So you have to realize that good design does not equal pretty. Good design equals conversions. So now we have to answer the question, well then, how do you design for conversions? How do you actually take a product or a message and put it on a website, put it on a funnel in a way that people will buy in? How do you actually do that? And here's the thing that's amazing, is that it's actually so simple. All we have to do is design a page that your customers are expecting, that they want. And so the design for somebody in the real estate niche is going to look different from the design in somebody in the fitness niche than it is for somebody in the Bitcoin niche, right? But let me show you actually how you can do this. It's quite simple. All you have to do is figure out what pages are already converting amongst 3 different categories. Number 1, who's already killing it in your niche? Who's already killing it, right? So let's say that we want to like launch like a women's fitness app. Let's say that, right? That's what the example we'll do. So who's killing it in our niche? Literally, if it's on Google and it's ranking, you can trust it. There's relevancy to it. So we're just going to go to Google and we're going to type in top female fitness gurus. Pull up the top 10 pages. Done. Okay. Then we want to find who's killing it amongst our customer base. The easiest way to do that is to search as if we were them. So let's say we're targeting people that are like 18 to 30 or whatever. We'll just be like, 22 years old, want to get toned. 23-year-old female, want to lose body fat. Just type in something, pull up the top 10 results, pull them up, right? Yeah. Then the third, so who's killing it in our niche? We have our 10. Who's killing amongst your customer niche? We have our 10 sites. And then who's killing it and getting that customer to do what we want them to do? So for us, we want them to like download an app, right? So maybe it's free or who knows. We literally type in top app landing pages. You know, HubSpot or something's made a blog post on that already, right? About that. So you're like, cool, pull them all up. At this point, we're gonna have like 20 to 30 pages open. At that point, all you have to do is start to identify the patterns of what's already working in the design, right? So also you're gonna be like, oh, what patterns am I seeing when it comes to the structure? What patterns am I seeing when it comes to the fonts? Are people using pretty similar fonts in this? It's like, yeah, okay, cool. Then I should probably model that, right? What kind of themes am I seeing and patterns am I seeing when it comes to images or colors or the actual spacing? It's like if you have 30 pages open and 24 out of the 30 have a blurred out woman in the background lifting weights, you should probably have a blurred out woman in the background lifting weights in your thing, right? And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this is that when you know how to actually crack the code on what's already working, right? You don't have to go reinvent the wheel when it comes to design. You simply have to look at your product or your service and say, what niche am I in? Who's my customer base? What do I want them to do? Figure out who's already killing it in those niches, and then scrape through to find what design patterns am I finding among structure and fonts and images and colors and spacing. What patterns am I finding? And how can I implement those in my own? And if you continually play that game of pattern finding and implementation, then you're going to be able to launch a product that actually will convert.
That's brilliant. You took what was complicated and vague in my mind to these distilled. You gave me permission to be a detective
Yes.
And
a design hacker. Come on down. Price is right, sweetie. Come be a design hacker. That's what we do.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. I feel like that's the biggest thing, giving me permission to be a detective versus my old way of thinking, like, I don't know how to code HTML. I don't know how to, I signed up for a funnel software and there's like a million things all over the place and you kind of get lost in the buttons.
Yes.
To look for the patterns, identify the patterns in this way, and you can apply it so that you win too. Yes. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you're breaking down a lot of fears that would stop me from trying it myself because of the imposter syndrome of like, yes. Feeling like, how can I do this? I don't know.
And all because a boy broke my heart. Here we are. Who could have known? Who could have known what internet marketing disruption was going to occur from that? It's beautiful. It's amazing.
And Marie is taking down all of the notes. She's yes. Like, number 1, number 2. Thank you, Marie. Number 3, who is already killing it in your niche. I say niche. I don't know, niche or niche.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think you're just classier. I think niche is more classy. So I could take a few lessons from you.
Ramsey says, you are so right. Marie says, powerful story. Ryan says, love the WWE belt in the background, Kathryn.
Yes. Yes, right there. Yes.
Hey, Anna. Hey, guys. You guys are so awesome. You're just, yeah, awesome. Marie says, do what you know, Kim. You are killing it. Thank you. Thank you for doing this interview. Well, you guys, I want to, first of all, the selfish part of me is I want to talk to Kathryn. Like, I want to meet cool ass people changing,
yes,
making a dent into the universe.
Yes.
But second of all, for you guys, I want to bring her in because the things I feel that for the action takers that comes so easily for us because we're like, yeah, of course you just do that. The longer I'm on this internet space, the more I realize that's not normal. The mindset and not having all those restrictions, having of course I'm going to do that mindset is so not normal. And when I bring on people like Kathryn, it's like, let's step into what's not normal. Let's step into this world where anything is possible and you just decide on yourself. Yes. So the more, you guys feel it tangibly from Kathryn and you go through those aha moments and you join her school and you go through those breakthroughs, it's like giving the gift of life-changing abilities. Even as something as simple as saying yes to becoming a detective, even though that's not, your career option or something, that part that ties into what's real, like, oh, I can be a detective. I can see through the matrix. When you were describing to me, look for the patterns, I'm imagining, how Neo, that moment where he sees the green.
Yes.
Yes. Down from the screen and he sees through what is real, what isn't real. I'm like, oh man, it's like decoding the matrix is yes. What you're giving us permission to do.
100%.
Yeah. I know this interview is, I don't know how long you have.
I actually do have to run, which makes me sad because this is so fun, but I do have to run.
I know. You have like back to back. Okay. Yeah. So you guys, if you have any other questions, I love her simplicity of breaking that down. And if you, I know that if they want to learn more about what's going on with you, I know you have a Facebook group that you're opening up soon. Yes. Where can they go to find you and find more about your magic and your world?
Totally. Yes, come hang out with us. We're actually doing a big 5-day workshop next week and you'll get into our group and everything there. But the best place if you want to get anywhere inside this world of design hacking is if you just go to designhacking.com/workshop. We'll come hang out with us. It will be amazing. But designhacking.com/workshop will get you in.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Kathryn, for joining us today. And guys, I'm sorry to say we have something going on as well for next week as well for us. If you're interested in growing, in having your simple software bring your vision to life, we have a workshop that we're running as well.
Well, here's the deal. Go to hers. Mine's evergreen. So go to hers and you can hit mine after. How's that? So go to hers next week and then you can come to mine afterwards.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Kathryn.
You're welcome. Bye. Thanks, guys.
With us. Bye. All right, you guys. Kathryn had to run because she is a super busy individual. I'm so just excited that you guys got to be graced by her energy today. And yeah, she's so busy. She's like back to back to back, interview after interview. I'm probably her. We're probably her. She said it's her 20th interview today. So with that said, if you guys are interested in getting passive income with your own simple software, I'm doing a free 5-day training. I'm going to drop the link to enter this free 5-day training. It's not a challenge. It's more like an actual training where you do get to win prizes, and it's me teaching you directly what to do to get passive income with your own simple software. If you guys know QuickLinkConvert, it's kind of like, hey, do you want to have your own simple software with your own Chrome extension, or your own, do you want to have passive income with your own simple software and finally bring your vision to life? So if that's something you're interested in, come and join us, join the fun. It's in a private Facebook group, a pop-up group. So it's not going to be in here. I'm going to drop the link to the group in the description. And guys, Kathryn is such a fun, energetic person. If you guys are interested in figuring out like what design converts and what stories to tell and all the things, then do go and follow her. So with that said, I had an awesome time hanging out with her and hanging out with you guys today. RJ is gonna be part of the people we're going to be introducing and interviewing during the training as well, because he came from the Chromeboss world, and we're going to show you that, yeah, it's possible. And RJ is 20 years old. RJ is pretty young. So it's possible for people of all ages, all over the world. Doesn't matter if you're from India or you're from Singapore or you're from the UK. Does not matter. If you're interested in earning passive income with your own simple software, definitely get into the free training that I have going on. I told her team about our training conflicting with her training. I'm like, hey, there's a conflict, but I still want to bring you in and have a cool chat with you anyways. And her team was like, okay. So all right, you guys, thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the training that starts on Monday. I'm going to include the link to get into the group in the description. But yeah, I had a fun time chatting with her today. Sorry she had to run so fast, but there were only like 30-minute slots and she was like, boom, boom, boom. All right, you guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, after and beyond this about like funnel design, anything very specific to Kathryn, drop them in the comments and I'll let her team know that we have more questions for her. And if you love her energy, we're actually considering doing a full-on webinar with her later on in the future. And yeah, and it's in the works. So I'd love to bring these awesome entrepreneurs into this group so you guys get to know who they are. And they're just, it's just, I don't know. I love it. I love her energy. All right. Have an awesome day and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Oh yeah. If you liked that video, then you will love all the resources that I have over at kimcdang.com. That is KIMCDANG.com. dang.com. There you will find all my courses, my extensions, all the offers that I have, as well as a lot of free resources if you are just getting started.